Hey there. So today I'm gonna go through a classic song U2. It's With or Without You. Really easy song to play and great song to start out with. Good song to sing for both guys and girls as well. I actually play this in my band, so I'll do the tutorial first. And if you're interested, you can click on the link, which is hopefully, let's just say there, and you'll see a cover that I do in my band. So please have a look at it. But this video is just a tutorial. So the way, oh sorry, I should mention the way I play it in my band. I actually play it in a different key. So you notice I've got a capo, but when I play it in my band, I just take the capo off and play it open. That's because I don't have a particularly big vocal range and it's easier to sing. So yeah, especially for guys who don't have a big vocal range, I maybe try playing it without the capo down this side of the guitar, and you might find it a lot easier to sing than the way Bono does it. I wish I could sing like Bono, but I can't, so I adjust. Anyway, what you'll need to play it the way Bono does it, or the way U2 does it, I should say, is a capo. So if you don't have one of these, definitely buy one. They're a great investment. They last years. I had this one like 8 years or so, and they're a really handy tool for just changing the key of the song. So in this case, put your capo on the 7th fret, and let's go through the chords. So if you know what the chord, if you're familiar with guitar chords already, I'll just go through that quickly with you, and you can move on and strum away. And then for beginners, I'll take you through what those chords are as well. So it's just 4 chords. Let me play it for you first, I guess, and then I'll go through the chords, and then I'll break down the chords note by note. Okay, so the 4 chords were simply G, D, E minor, C, and repeat it. So once again, G, D, E minor, and C. Now let me just take you through what the notes are in that chord. So when I refer to certain strings, I'll go from this string here down to this string and take you what I meant by them. So that's the E string. Next string down is the A. Next string down is the D. String after that is the G. Then the B. And the last string is the E string, which is the highest in pitch. So it's worthwhile learning what those strings are. Just memorize them. It will come in handy. Yeah, it's just essential for something for all guitarists should learn. So the G chord is simply, when I talk about frets here, I talk about frets relative to the capo. So if I say 3rd fret, what I mean is the 3rd fret from the capo. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3. I don't mean 3rd fret down here. So it's always relative to the capo when people talk about frets and there's a capo involved. So 3rd fret on the E string, 2nd fret on the A string, open on the D string, open on the G string, 3rd fret on the B string, and 3rd fret on the E string. So simple G chord. 2nd chord of the song is a D chord. So this is potentially a little bit tricky for beginner guitarists. What you have to do is you actually need to mute the top 2 strings. When I say that the top 2, I mean the E and the A. And when I say mute, you can put your thumb over and just touch them gently. You definitely don't want to push down on them because then you'd be playing them. So by muting a string, you're just touching it, and it should make it sound dead. You should only really play the four strings in this chord, and it's these ones there. So thumb over the first two, the E and the A, and then open on the D string, second fret on the G string, third fret on the B string, and second fret on the E string. I'll show you what it sounds like if you don't mute those two. It sounds like this. Now, you can kind of get away with that, but to me it just sounds really sloppy, and I think that A the open A just clashes with it. I guess the open E clashes with it as well, so it's just a really messy chord if you don't mute it. The proper way to do it is to mute it, so you get that nice and clean. So that's the second chord of the song. The third chord of the song is just an E minor, probably one of the easiest chords you can learn as a guitarist, and I guess there's two fingerings, so I'll just do one fingering. It doesn't really matter what you do, but it's just open E, and then second fret on the A, second fret on the D, open G, open B, open E. So just two fingers. You can use either those two or those two, it doesn't really matter. Probably those two are probably the easiest when you start. The two fingers, open, two, two, open, open. That's the third chord, and final chord, easy chord that all guitarists should know is a C chord. And all that is an open on the E string. Oh, sorry, mute on the E string. What am I saying? Mute it. And I think you should mute using your thumb. So thumb over the top and just touch it. Once again, don't press down on it. It should just sound dead when you play it. So third fret on the A string, second fret on the D string, open on the G, first fret on the B, and open on the E. So it's these three fingers you use. Let's call this, say, thumb, first, second, third, fourth finger. So it would be the third, the second, and the first, those three. Don't need your pinky, but you just need your thumb to mute it. And that's the final chord. So really simple. I'll just play it through. I'll play it through again quite slowly. Just a quick tip, I guess, for people who are looking to make the song a bit more interesting, because it's a 4-chord song, and the way U2 play it is you've got electric guitars and drums and bass and all this stuff to add lots of colour and depth. If you're playing the acoustic, it's more difficult, so you could just strum it the whole way through. Which is fine, and that works, but something which I think kind of changes up the song and gives it a bit more variation is what's called palm muting, and that just means putting the palm of your hand up on the strings here, and you're kind of still playing it, but you should be able to hear the notes, but it just sounds slightly muted. So it's certainly not dead, but it's not ringing either. And what I mean, and this is what it should sound like. So I guess it's important for you to just play around with that and see what works for you. But, you know, kind of put your palm on the bridge here and just experiment with it, see what you can do. Experiment with the rhythms of it as well. Something else you can do to add variation is to pick it as well. And all I did there is I just did the same chords and I guess randomly picked some strings, and that will add variation to it. And then obviously the third thing you can do is just strum it open. And you kind of combine those things, and all of a sudden you've turned 4 chords, which can sound a little bit repetitive, into something that sounds a lot more varied and has more dynamics to it. And I guess in a sense it's quite an easy way. It's a bit of a cheap trick in a sense, but you can almost kind of fool an audience into believing that there's more than 4 chords to this song, and then what you've done is a bit more complicated, when in fact it's actually really simple. So that's my guitar tutorial. Please take a look at the link, that side. Please click on it if you want the cover version of it that I play in my band, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll try and put some more up. And please, you feel free to ask any questions or give me some feedback. I'd like to hear it. So that's it. Thanks.